guys. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Inspired by Miss Amber Red. Just Sasha and I here today. We've had a long ass week, so we are exhausted. So we're trying to keep the energy up through these episodes.
We're gonna do our best.
So I guess let's jump into what made it a long ass week. So yesterday, was it yesterday? It was yesterday. They're all becoming one.
Yeah.
Yesterday you guys, you know how clients like shit ass clients, I'm sorry. The difficult clients, they come in waves. We had a whole ass day yesterday of that. It was one after another, after another, after another. And by the time this airs, you guys won't be able to like connect the dots. So we can kind of talk freely on this. But yeah, so first one yesterday shows up at the studio unannounced.
Oh.
Started the day off with that.
Yeah, because she just is, an older lady, doesn't like to use the phone, shows up, just arguing with me about pricing and saying things were free.
Okay, the arguing's not okay, but the showing up at the studio is okay, right? Like she can't use a phone. Like we understand that part. That's not the part that's like...
That's not the first time that's happened too, we're used to that. But.
Yeah. It's the part where she comes in and she swears somebody told her the touch-up was free, even though you signed 6 documents.
Yeah.
And was told multiple times.
Yeah.
By multiple people.
Yeah. So I had to, just explaining to her the studio policies, and I even printed out her paperwork. She was fine. Like, she wasn't like being like too crazy, but trying to pull a fast one just a little bit.
I don't wake up till like 1 o'clock. So when that stuff happens at 9 a.m., I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. I'm like, what is in the air today? But we got through it. We got through it.
What was the next one? I forgot. I can remember mine, but there was one before that.
When they want to say they're not told how much a touch-up is when they're a model.
Oh, yeah. So I feel like people, I kept saying this 1,000 times yesterday, I feel like when the procedure price is lower, it's always the, but the cheap ones that are looking for that deal that cause the problems. I said that like 100 times yesterday, I think. So anyways, we do model spots, right? So for people that are traveling in from out of state to take training classes. And she got charged just $100. That was it to cover, the whole entire procedure. And I actually was the one that did that procedure. Yeah. So she was like a demo model for me. So she got one hell of a deal. Usually my price is $1,200. So she goes to the front and, she asked like, hey, I'm interested in booking a touch up. Nothing really needed touched up. She just wanted to go darker, but that still doesn't change anything. It's still a touch-up. I still have to set the whole tray up. It's still going to take the same amount of time. I don't ever half-ass anything. So like I'm not just going to get a spot. It's going to be like a whole nother new procedure, especially if you're wanting to go darker, right? So then she goes to Sasha and she's nice to me as I'm taking healed photos. Yeah. And then she goes to Sasha out in the lobby and it's the touch-ups, how much?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh God. So then she left. And then she came back into the studio and was like, what are my colors? Because she's going to go somewhere else now and have somebody else do it.
Yeah, which sucks because, if Amber's already doing it at such a discounted price, like you kind of have to expect that because originally it would have been $1,200.
It would have been $1,200. So in all, she would have been paying $500 for the procedure in all. And what kind of drives me crazy now, I think because I've probably been doing this for a long time now, it's like the whole time I'm taking the photos, she's like, they're perfect. You did exactly what I needed. Everything is great. So now I'm thinking, okay, so you came back and got your colors. You have no idea what pigment line I'm using. You have no idea the size of caps that the ink are going in. That makes a big difference. So now you're going to just take this color that I think it's kind of funny. I'm like, yeah, sure, you want that information? Here you go. Yeah. But now you're going to take this information, you're going to go to another artist, and in hopes that it works out, like after everything is already perfect, I just can't. She is definitely added to the do not book list.
Yeah. And it's like, too, like they could have gone with the girls, if you don't want to pay Amber's prices, like you have that option too. But
it's all about the approach on that because, again, I feel like I'm kind of being blunt today, but probably because I'm tired. But I feel like, we would have offered that to her.
Yeah.
But she didn't even allow us to have the chance to offer that to her because it was immediately like, no, absolutely not, out the door, back in. I'm like, okay, if you would have just came at it maybe a little bit different, we could have been like, hey, Amber has other artists that she's trained over the last 4 years, and they can absolutely do it for you for half the price.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it too. In my mind, I thought she wanted to go with you. So that's why that conversation didn't even get to that point.
Same.
So I was like, all right, well, if you don't want to pay that, then you don't have to. You're not forced to. But
absolutely.
You also can't get mad at us for it is what it is. You know, Amber has to charge her worth, you know?
Yeah.
And it's her time. Like,
and honestly, I'm to the point, it's going to make me sound like an asshole, but probably not, because I feel like a lot of artists are at that point. I'm like, I'm not going to lowball.
yeah.
I'm not.
No.
I'm not. Like, my hands hurt. I
Yeah.
only do so many a day. Like, I'm going to charge you. Like, and look, you're still getting the procedure for half the price. So I think a lot of people would probably be like, she was still getting a deal. But I'm not going to come down to the $250
Yeah.
mark for a touch up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're a model spot and it was $400. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's how I feel about that. And then episode number 3 yesterday that happened.
What was the third one?
That was the one where the girl got off the bed with numbing on her face.
I forgot. Sorry, everything meshes together. Yeah, I forgot.
So then I'm in my room, you guys, and I was again giving somebody kind of a deal. I don't usually do that. But she was referred by another artist in town, and I love this artist that referred her. But the girl did not trust me. This girl that came in automatically off the bat did not trust me. I could feel it.
Yeah.
I tried explaining everything to her. I did it like 3 times. Her brows were gray. I'm over here trying to simplify the color correction process to this girl, and she just has no trust. Like, the second I say, hey, I got to add a little yellow, like, because she wanted to know, like, she's asking the questions. I'm like, I'm not going to tell her.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to say, hey, I'm the artist. Let me do my job. But I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I was trying to walk her through the process, and it wasn't that she was going to have to leave, because sometimes, you know, with color corrections they have to leave with yellow eyebrows. She wasn't going to have to leave that way. I was finding a way that already slightly was outside of my comfort zone on how I would have done things, but I know it still would have healed right with what she was looking for. But even then, like, after she kept pushing even further outside like the comfort zone with like, well, I don't want this and I want it to look like this, I'm like, because they were gray already, which is a cool result, and she wanted a cool brow result anyways, so I understood that completely. Obviously I've been using the colors, you know, for 10 years. So I'm like, I get that. Like, so then I just won't do this, and this. I'll layer this instead, and I'll do this. I'm like explaining the whole thing. And I show her the color. No color was she happy with. I'm like, this is why I don't show, honestly, anymore. I do not show clients' colors. I don't. You tell me a medium brown, I got it from there. Otherwise, like, you know, I say I don't, but sometimes, you know, people are cool. You feel the vibe. And I hate even saying that, because sometimes, like, you think somebody's cool and then they're not cool, and then they come back and they try to use something against you. But it's like, no, this particular case, I really was trying to, like, and I think there was a little bit of a language, like, barrier there. So, like, that I was very, like, mindful of. And so I really was, like, trying to swatch it out and, like, smear it. And I was like, look at it here versus here. And I showed her, I'm like, we were in there probably 20 minutes on top of, you know, already doing a consultation, trying to just talk about color. And I was like, at this point, I'm just not the artist for you. And I just popped out of my mouth, because yesterday I was done by the end of the day.
Yeah.
When that came around, I was like, you know what?
Didn't you say she wanted black?
Yeah, she kept saying she wanted black, but the photo she showed me was brown.
Yeah.
And I kept that in our file, because I knew at that point we weren't on the same page. So I always get photos. We have a great consultation form. You know, maybe we could probably attach that to this episode. That would be very helpful.
Yeah.
We have an amazing consultation form. I feel like I'm talking a lot. You want to tell them about the consultation form? You made it.
Did I? Oh, yeah, I did. We got so many forms. Yeah, the consultation form just helps the artist walk through, like, what everything was talked about, the color, the shape, if a touch-up's included. And the client and the artist both have to sign it to make sure that what was talked about is agreed upon. What else is on the form?
The reason we
Style.
did that form, because we, you know, I feel like around tax time, this is kind of bad, but you kind of get an influx of people that wouldn't necessarily have the money to splurge on particular things. So I feel like, and that's fine, like, but I feel like with certain clientele, you have to be very thorough, right? So people were leaving, and then they would come back, and we'd end up having to do a second consultation, because they're like, well, the artist talked me out of getting hair strokes, when really that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
You know, they just saw Sally down the street got hair strokes, and her skin type was good for hair strokes, but now this particular client's, you know, skin isn't the best candidate for hair strokes. So then you talk them into like an ombre brow or a powder brow, and then they go see their friend, like I said, Susie Sally down the street, and they're like, well, she got it, now I want it, and you talked me out of it. So we don't let that fly anymore. That's what the consultation form is, you know, for. It asks about, you know, what's the one thing that they'd like to change about their brows in particular, or their, you know, whatever it is they're getting done. It talks about like their colors, if they have any inspo photos, if they have anything, you know, and it's okay, like if they come back for their procedure, because sometimes like they do a consultation, right? And then you see them like 2 months later. Like it's okay for them to come back. But that's like a starting point for you to be like, okay, this is what we talked about last time. Because sometimes we see 100+ million people in a week, and it's like 100+ million.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Feels like it. But yeah, so it's a good place to start with the client and be like, hey, this is what we talked about last time. Are you still on the same page? You still thinking the same thing? But it also covers your ass, right? So they can't go and be like, when they do come back, like, oh, well, you talked me out of this last time. No.
Yeah.
You see right here that there's a booking fee that's collected that's non-refundable. You're seeing right here, touch-up price is not included. It can range from this to this. And we both signed on it. And then look at all these notes that I have down. And yeah.
Why aren't touch-ups included, Amber?
So, well, in all honesty, I personally feel, well, I've heard many different ways that reasons why touch-up shouldn't be included is because, one, it's a legal issue. So if you include your touch-up, they could fight back for whatever they feel that touch-up price could be if they don't end up needing one. So say I'm charging $1,200 and they're like, well, I feel like a touch-up price $300, so I should get that money back. So then you're going to be fighting somebody on the flip side of that. So I've never included them. They've always been separate. And another thing is like, I've been, I keep saying like, I've been doing this forever, but it's like, how many of my brows do we see need touch-ups?
Yep.
Pretty much none.
Yeah.
So it's like you're seeing that $1,200 up front, but really, if like, it's like it's one and done.
Yeah.
I'm not having to see you again for another 3 years after that. So it's like you're getting it. I think it's people see that big number and they're like, oh crap, plus money extra. But it's like, and then it's a little awkward because I can't say like more than like you're not going to need a touch up.
Yeah, because you don't want to guarantee anything.
Because I don't want to guarantee anything, but I do know like my work, right? I know that it's probably not going to need a touch up. So, but you can't say that because I'll hold that against you. So it's just always been best, in my opinion, to keep them completely separate.
Yeah, I think if I'm going to pay you that much and I have to come back again as a client, I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
No,
I agree.
Most people in the industry do require you to come back twice.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they schedule it right off the bat. Maybe that's why I have never been one. I should, but I've never been one. You see, we don't book touch-ups. Yeah. Like I don't. I mean, we mention it
and we say it's up to you because Amber does book out pretty far. So if you want to go on her books, that makes sense.
Yeah. And if you end up not needing it, then cancel it. Like it's fine. But usually we're not ones to like push. I know there's a lot of people out there that push like, hey, touch-up is in 6 weeks, and that's another thing. I do touch-ups in 10 weeks. I prefer the skin to be really, 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 really healed. So, yeah.
I'm interested to see like a client's opinion. If you guys are listening to this, like, do you think it's fair to include a touch-up or not? Or our forms when you guys come into our studio, do you think that is excessive, or do you appreciate it? Because I think from my end, I would appreciate it as a client. They're walking me through every single step because we even have a booking fee form now. I'm like, read this, because now I'm protecting myself because I can't stand people saying, oh, we were never told it's non-refundable. Well, here you go now, because now you have to sign
invoice, it's in the email, it's in the text message, and now it's on a form they have to sign. There's literally no other way that we can get that message across. And so it's a tough world out there sometimes.
Yeah, we're doing our best to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly.
And there are no red flags.
Yeah. We try to spot all those red flags before they happen. So so I guess let's like end it with, I feel like it's important to tell the artist, like, 'cause I think sometimes, because even I still get uncomfortable. Yeah. When the client, like yesterday, for instance, let's finish that up. The lady jumped off the table pretty much with the numbing cream on, was ready to walk out the door. I'm so old, you guys. I was about to let her ass walk out the door with the numbing cream on and let her clean it off herself, because that's so rude. Like, so now like you're uncomfortable because I'm trying to explain a process to you, but it was just a weird situation. So never feel so uncomfortable that you can't literally, if nothing else, just say, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to work out today. I may not be the artist for you, and just leave it at that.
Yep. And you have the right to do that.
Yes. Yes. So thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Bye, guys.